Hi, and welcome to the channel where I will be cooking good food as well as counting carbohydrates. My name is Elizabeth and I'm a type 1 diabetic. I want to clarify that those of us with type 1 diabetes can eat everything without restrictions, so I will be preparing a wide variety of normal, healthy, tasty meals. But as a type 1, we all have the added step of counting carbs for that meal and using our ratios to determine the insulin requirements. So please stick around until the end, because after cooking the dish, we'll sit down together and rock and bolus and, of course, count carbs. In this video, I am making a Kielbasa Skillet Dinner. Here are the ingredients for kielbasa: onion, mushrooms, carrots, spinach, garlic, oil, corn, tomatoes, rice, and seasonings of your choice: pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and Italian seasoning. The prep work with this dish is going to involve quite a bit of chopping. The good news is that once your chopping is complete, it goes together very, very quickly. So I'm beginning with the kielbasa. I'm chopping the onion, and be careful with your fingers. Next, I'm going to chop up the mushrooms. And there's more than one way to chop up a mushroom, but for me, I cut each one in half. I'm going to chop up a total of 12 mushrooms, but for now I'm just doing 4 so you can see what I'm doing. After I've got each half, I just slice through each half, and that's a quick chop of the mushrooms. I'm chopping up 6 cloves of garlic on my little handheld mandolin. So after our chopping is all completed, we're going to begin the sautéing process. I have the rice water that I'm boiling, and I've turned on this heat. I've already put 2 tablespoons of oil in the pan. We're going to wait for it to heat up, and then we're just going to start dumping all of this in. Being careful not to splash the oil. And I don't hear it sizzling, which means it's not quite hot enough, but I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, there we go. It's sizzling. We're going to add the mushrooms. I just put in the onions and the carrots. I'm going to add in the mushrooms. Just stir those around, being careful not to spill out that oil. I'm going to dump in the 6 cloves of garlic. Stir that in. And then when that's done, you're going to put a lid on this. The rice water is boiling, so you're going to turn the water off. Take the lid off, pour in the rice, stir it up, and then put the lid back on and just let it sit till the piece is done. While the other ingredients are sautéing over on the oven, I'm going to microwave the corn, and I'm going to stick it in the microwave for 3 minutes and let it cook. Be sure to stir this every minute or so, just to make sure nothing is sticking. After several minutes, I'm going to take the lid off, and I think you can see how it's cooked down. I think we're good. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add the spinach next. This is going to cook down. It's not that much. It's what I had. And carefully stir this into the mix. It does add a nice pop of color. And spinach has almost no carbs. We are going to add a can of diced tomatoes. Into the mix it goes. Stir it in. It smells really good in here. Then we're going to season to taste. So I'm going to start with a little bit of garlic powder. Again, it's to taste, and I know we already had garlic slabs in here, but we're layering the flavors here. Then we're going to take some onion powder, some Italian seasoning, because you can season with anything, but it's what I had in my cupboard, and pepper. You can also season with salt at this point in the game. However, I think with all these other flavorings, I usually don't season too heavily with salt. You don't need it. You won't miss it. Stir it all together, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take your chopped up kielbasa and you're just going to layer it on the top, and it's already pre-cooked, and it'll just steam through in about, give it 5 minutes, and it'll be all ready to go. Put the lid back on. You're good. Now microwave the corn. I'm going to add this into the mix. It's a tad hot. And we're going to mix it in. And make sure that at this point your heat is turned down to low. Here is the completed dish. I like mine side by side, or you can put the rice and then put the rest of it on top. Before I begin the actual carb count, let me say that I am not a medical professional. I am just a human being who wears my pancreas in my pocket, and I also happen to have years of living with type 1. So if you do have a medical question, please consult your diabetic care team. Let's count the carbs for the kielbasa and rice skillet dinner. There is some math involved, but it's not that hard. You need to calculate the carbs per serving, and this dish makes 4 servings. The kielbasa, no grams. The medium onion had 10 grams. You're going to divide that by 4, and that came out to 2.5 grams per serving. Mushrooms, 2 grams. Carrots, 2 grams. Spinach, 0. Garlic, 0. Oil, 0. The corn had 9 grams. The tomatoes had 5 grams. And the seasonings that were used had no grams. The rice had 38 grams per serving. You add your columns together, and you came up with 58.5 grams of carbohydrates per serving. Once you have your final carbohydrate count for your serving, you will need to divide this number by your carb ratio number. For instance, if I use my carb ratio of 1 to 15, 58.5 divided by 15 is equal to 3.9 units of insulin needed to keep my blood sugar within a normal range. Happy carb counting, and remember, my fellow type 1s, counting carbs so our pancreas doesn't have to, one meal at a time.